What's that?
Aqua cakes, because we're Manchester, so.
They're all right. They're kind of like a sort of croissant mince pie. Well done, Manchester. That's really tasty. Okay, cool. Yeah, lovely. That sounds great though. Lovely. 1, 2, 1, 2. This is sweet. Like, so who's played here then, Reese?
So pretty much any famous band you can think of.
Any famous band?
Beatles.
Aqua?
Sure.
Do you know who Aqua are? You don't know who fucking Aqua are? Mate. They had that one big hit. I believe it was Barbie
Girl.
Was it Barbie Girl in a Barbie world?
Yeah, I'm a Barbie girl in a Barbie world. Life in plastic. It's fantastic.
Yeah. That was apparently what got Greta Thunberg so furious. Initially, when I met her, she was like, "I fucking hate that song, man." So that's an exclusive. But yeah, apparently everyone's played it.
You've been to Coachella?
I have.
Was that when King Kendrick was playing?
Yes, it was. Yeah. So we watched King Kendrick. We left early because the taxis looked a fucking nightmare. We saw the first 20 minutes. That's when I said to my wife, "I think I'm a better rapper live than Kendrick Lamar," and she's never let me forget that. So we're in Nottingham backstage. We've just eaten a lot of sushi and there's still some to go. We've got some questions from them Instagrams and they want to know answers, Steve. So this is from Eddie Passer. Do you have any pre-show rituals or superstitions before a gig? Because we both have acid reflux, we have to do a voice exercise that Reese has shown us how to do. And it's basically you have to go, far, far. But you can only really do that on tour, because if you do that in a comedy club in England, you're fucking dead. Can you imagine that? Being like backstage at like the Comedy Store or something and then going, ah. So that's it. Who's the one person you want to meet but never have? I've never met Gerard.
Yeah.
Stevie G would be the big one for me.
Because you met Ian Rush.
I met Rush. I met Philip Coutinho.
Barry Chuckle.
I haven't met either of the Chuckles. Gordon Ramsay was quite odd. He was quite peculiar.
How did you meet them?
Met him on the Jonathan Ross show.
Now, Russell is a very funny young man, and I think you'll agree he's very young and he's very good looking. Gordon, can I check something? Was it Russell's picture that you took in when you went to see your surgeon recently? You said...
There was a bit where Jonathan Ross and Gordon Ramsay were seeing how many poppadoms they could smash. So they had this big kind of, probably about 100 poppadoms. They're seeing if they could punch all the way through. And Dave Grohl from Foo Fighters leant over to me on the settee and said, "What time does this show go out?" And I said, 10:45. And he said, "You'd have to be pretty tired to watch this shit." It was kind of this incredible moment. And it kind of cuts away from Gordon and Jonathan doing that to me and Dave Grohl laughing. And it looked like we were laughing at their poppadom hijinks. But it was the fact that Grohl had absolutely two-footed them. When you do tour locations, do you have a favourite place that you think of first? Buildings, city or country? I always used to love Worcester, doing a place called the Mars Bar. It's like this little 200-seater, it's beautiful. And there was a kitten there that used to terrorise me. And every time I'd come and do it, this cat was getting bigger and more kind of demonic. I did it probably about 14 times, that club, and then obviously I turn up one day and the cat's dead. And it was really heartbreaking because I'd sort of like, God, I love that gig, that bloody cat won't. But I'd sort of got so used to it. So I often think about the dead cat from the Mars Bar. God, that's bleak. No questions, but can you say hi to Frodo? He's my little puppy. All right, Frodo. You're not going to say hello?
Hello, Frodo.
What is your advice for young comedians who want to get into comedy? Just go for it. See, we look old because my advice would be find, I was going to say time out and find the gigs, but now there's a website called Chortle, and if you go on there, you'll see all the kind of gigs in your area that are for kind of open spots. So I would do that. I would go to one of those, check out the kind of open spot scene where people do stand up for free, and then just do as many gigs as possible.
Yeah.
Do you think like if you sort of saw like a young comedian who was like a bit like kind of fine, and they said, okay, but I'll do 1,000 gigs a year for the next 3 years, like do you think they'll then be good?
Absolutely. Yeah. Oh no, totally. There's nothing like there's sort of legendary stories about Izzard being absolute shit when he started out, or like Steve Martin. Sometimes, like obviously Eddie Izzard and Steve Martin are incredibly talented, but it can sometimes be a bit hidden when you're starting, or you're trying to imitate somebody, or you're not quite there. But there's something about just gigging, and become so natural with yourself.
Yeah.
And then it kind of, you get into this, I don't know, this kind of special place. Honestly, I think everyone can do it. What's your favourite thing about touring? Just live gigs, they're the best. When you get into that lovely flow state and you're just being funny. Like we did a gig in Manchester and somebody, I fell off the chair and I hurt myself, and somebody threw some cannabis edibles. Then I was sort of riffing about if it was the coronation, if I had those edibles, the next day I was going to be all over the TV trying to eat Prince Charles's fingers. So it's like this silly moment just for them. That's what I love about live gigs. You can have those genuine moments where it's truly only funny in the room, but it's breathlessly funny. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is from Natalie Boo, and she says, did you enjoy your edibles? They're still in the car. And depending on how this show goes now in Nottingham, I may have one on the way home.
I'm tempted to, if we just leave them in the tour manager's car and phone it into the police.
What's the biggest audience you've done a show for? 18,000 at Manchester, in the round.
Yeah.
That was a very odd night because my dad paid the only compliment he's ever paid to me, when it freaked me out a bit. He's come, obviously, see me do stand-up loads, and he normally says, Steve was great, or something like that. He's kind of like makes a point. Like, he always used to come to my telly show, and I was interviewing Fiona Bruce, who was lovely, but she's quite dry. And we'd done like, you know, topical jokes, and it was all really funny. And my dad straight away goes, God, Fiona Bruce is great, isn't she? And it's one of those where you're like, fuck me.
What was the compliment your dad gave?
My dad said it was like watching Roger Federer, which was quite a nice thing because my dad really likes Roger Federer. What did the last text from your mum say? The last thing my mum texted me, she sent me a thing from Instagram, which is pretty mental. That's pretty funny. And she sent me that. Fucking hell. So yeah, it's a couple of nice throw-ins she's seen on Instagram. I don't know how my mum's looking at them. Final question. What's your favourite American tradition and why? Thanksgiving.
Yeah, it's great, isn't it?
I've only ever been to one and the food was absolutely mad. They had sweet potatoes that were done in maple syrup, and they had marshmallows on top. It's a thing they call candy jams. And I was having a chat with a vicar, and she asked me who she thought was the biggest animal I could bring down with just my hands and that. This was during the meal.
Yeah.
I think I said I could kill a female pig. And she said, why female? I said, because if a female, I think female pigs are smaller. So I think I could, if I clocked it right, I think I could punch a pig to death. But you know, when you're having this kind of conversation with a vicar, yeah. How about you?
What animal could I take down, or what
Both.
tradition?
Tradition and animal.
I don't think I could hurt an animal.
Yeah.
I'd take a chinchilla.
I
don't want to over-talk my game.
What about that time with the pigeon? Thanks for all those questions. We've got to do the next gig. Well, actually, what we have to do is we have to watch Man United West Ham, because I've got Rashford in my fantasy team and De Gea in goal. But secretly, I want them to lose so that Liverpool stand up to the top four. But we also have a gig to do. Come on, Holt. Bye-bye, bye-bye, bye-bye.